Hey everybody, welcome back to Unpopular Opinion, the Married at First Sight edition. Last night's episode had one major event, so therefore I am not going to go through the entire episode. I'm going to give you highlights and a little commentary. So, all the couples are coupling, doing couple things, and, trying to make the best of these 8 weeks that they have. And so we see Myrla and Gil, they're connecting, I think, the best out of everybody because they have not rushed this whole process. They are taking the time to get to know each other and to fill each other out and to navigate each other's worlds. So now it seems as though there's a transference of energy. It seems as though Gil has let Myrla rub off on him. By that I mean Myrla Myrla's complaints have now gone to Gil, and Gil is complaining Smurf, and he has a lot to say. But here's the thing: the silver lining is Gil is looking for apartments. Yes, and not just some like tacky apartment like where he used to live, some little cheap, low budget apartment. He's looking for things that Myrla would like. He said he was looking at places in the current building where they're staying for this experiment. And which is not, it's in the medical center in Houston. It's Latitude, it's a high rise. So, and it's a quality looking place, modern looking with all the amenities. So Gil is in that frame of mind. Mind you, Gil still at every opportunity is gonna call Myrla bougie. Everything's bougie. I don't need that bouginess, it's too bougie. Like, to me, it's like when people say things are bougie, it just basically shows that they have a certain insecurity or have some shortcomings in their mind about themselves. Because I mean, all my life, you bougie, you think you rich, you think you that, because you aspire and you have good taste and you want greater things and you like luxury, you like this. That's a flaw for these people because they can't even fathom these things in their minds, and that's what it all comes down to. You don't think you're good enough for this stuff, therefore you're gonna criticize it and knock it because somebody else likes those things. But Gil, you better get on board because Myrla said she is not changing her lifestyle for you and for nobody. So get with it. Get with the program or get gone. As the group Ideal would say, get gone. Because Gil, she's about upward mobility. Simplicity may be cool, whatever, but she likes her luxury brands and she seems to be doing well for herself financially, which he did mention. She's doing well. He mentioned that to his friend. And, speaking of Gil's friend, he just came in like, yeah, man, kind of like bruh man from the 10th floor, not from the 5th floor. He just came in real laid back and country style, which was funny. He was like, "Have y'all even done the do? Like, have y'all consummated the relationship?" He says. Gil's like, no, but Gil did say she came in like she didn't like dogs, and then they cut to her with her friend talking about like, that's why I didn't want dogs, because they're slobber. But one thing about Myrla did admit to her friend that, he has exceeded everything that she wanted. Despite him having a bald head, he's exceeded what she even imagined for herself. He's very patient. And, she acknowledges the good things and she's aware of it. So it's like, they tried to paint a picture of Myrla like she's a shallow woman who only wants shallow things and was very surface. But just from her conversation with her friend, it lets you know that Myrla is not a dummy. And Myrla actually can internally understand. She knows who she is and what she wants. And she basically said, I, like that he's patient and he's more than she ever imagined. And I think it helps that Gil has a decent face, because if he was bald and didn't have a decent face, she wouldn't have been here for it. But thank God for that, and he has a decent body. So thank God for that Gil was attractive. He does need to work on his razor bumps or whatever, but other than that, and Gil is very communicative, and I think that's what a lot of women want out of a man, somebody who's going to communicate. And I think they're very clear in their communication with each other, which Myrla also mentioned to her friend. Like, they discuss things, and I think that's great. And speaking of discussing things, that takes me to Ryan and Brett. Ryan does not discuss things. Therefore, he's leading Brett on. Although Brett's onto it, Brett knows Ryan isn't into her. She just wants him to say it, and he won't say it. Ryan can't have the hard conversations. You know, Brett has put forth effort. Like she took him to this like parkour type obstacle course center where they met up with little Jose and Rachel, who were steadily fronting like they so happy in love, shiny, happy people. But whatever, we'll get to them later. But you know, she took Ryan to one of those places, and they had a good time. Oddly enough, you know, the fact that Brett is scared of everything, scared of a lot of physical things. She tried, but Brett was actually the least athletic of the bunch. You know, little Jose got up there fast. Rachel got up there fairly fast, but she barely got up to the top of the ledge. But and given that she's a volleyball coach, a gym instructor, I'm shocked that she can't do this. So I don't know. Is this like a narrative that production's pushing on her? I don't know. But she tried, and later on, she meets up with her friend and basically says we're not connecting. I don't know if it's physical or what it is. Really, Brett, you just haven't leaned into your femininity. I think that's what it is, and maybe you just might not be his idea of pretty. Pretty is subjective. There's been debate about whether or not Brett's pretty or not, but it's subjective. They say she gives off homegirl energy. I think that's a key, because if you flirted more with him and you gave him more, because obviously he's not someone in tune with his feelings, I think you could win him over. But maybe not. Maybe you're just not his physical type, because he did say to his sister, well, one, she's also a slob, we found out that Brett, yes, is a slob, which is funny because when they went to her house, when the couples were going to each other's homes, her place was very well appointed and everything seemed to be in their proper place. But maybe she just cleaned up before production went into her house. I don't know. But Brett, we know now, is a slob, and that turns Ryan off. But Ryan's sister did say, well, if she was a Victoria's Secret model, how would you feel? And he said, I'd be in there cleaning up those dishes so fast. So basically, you just said it. You're not attracted to her. She's not attractive to you, and therefore, that's why any effort you want, you just pull back, because you don't see it for her. And I think that's fair. You don't see it for Brett. She's not your physical type, therefore, and I know for men, that's harder. It's rare that they can get over somebody they're not physically into. Whereas women, if he's funny, he's so funny, I love him. Women can do that, except for my sister. She says she can't do it. But most women can not easily, but start loving somebody they might not physically be attracted to. It's just, I don't know. I think we're just more mental, and we're not as physically driven as men are when it comes to our spouses, because that's not what's important. It's important to us is someone who is going to protect, provide, and everything else that women want. So we move on. We see, Jose and Rachel, they have their discussion, a little bit of a tit, because, Rachel says, look, summer's coming. I need to go on a trip. I need to go to Europe. I need to go somewhere. Jose's like, we can go to Texas. I'm like, you are in Texas. You are in Texas right now, Jose. Houston is in Texas. It's on the coast, but it's still in Texas. And yes, Jose, Texas is a huge state. You can get to Florida faster than you can get to El Paso from Houston. Houston to Destin, Florida is 8 hours. Houston to El Paso is like 12 hours of a drive. So yes, you can get through 3 or 4 states before you can get through Texas driving from east to west, even north to south. You can get to Mexico to Oklahoma. So Texas is huge, yes, and there's a lot to be seen in Texas, but this girl just wants to go to Europe. And she wants to go, that's what she's envisioned. I've always envisioned probably going to Paris, going to Amsterdam, staring at the Eiffel Tower with my mate. But no, he just wants to go to the Alamo. Go to Alamo, but you're going to go alone if you don't take Rachel on a trip. So that was their thing, because it's all about Jose, and that's why I feel like they're fronting, like they're happy, they're fronting for the cameras. But hey, we'll find out in a few weeks what the real deal is. So then the main event. Oh, well, Michaela and Zach were, bouncing around, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they had fun. They were laughing. Crazy Michaela. And I know it's not right to call the girl crazy, but she's shown signs that she might be. So they had a good time at this whole blow up floaty looking thing. There's this oversized arm floaty looking thing where they crash into each other, which to me would not be a romantic date. It wouldn't be an opportunity for me to get to know anybody. So I don't even see the point. But I know people like to crash into each other and like to do dumb things. I mean, hence bumper cars. So the main event, Johnny and Bao. Johnny and Bao, they were having, they were cooking together. Bao was deep into that crock pot, like stirring around. It looked like she was trying to pick some burnt stuff off from the edges. And I'm like, how do things burn in a crock pot? I thought it was supposed to slowly cook. But they were making bolognese, and Bao plated it so nicely, almost like restaurant quality, which goes back to last week when Johnny was complaining, when Bao was telling the group that she cooked gourmet meals, she bakes, she does all this stuff, and Johnny was seething mad, tearing up those flowers. But he said she was lying and she's only cooked once. So fast forward to this week, they're sitting down having a lovely dinner. They're kind of even flirting with each other, drinking like, ooh, if we were to end the marriage, not end the marriage, if this was decision day, would you stay married? And Johnny Bao says, I would definitely stay married because every relationship I've had, I've ended, and I'm gonna stick to this. How about you? Johnny takes a sip. That's telling right there. Johnny ain't in this. Johnny has 2 feet out the door. He's just trying to get his stipend. And then so they sit down. They're still having pleasantries. And here's the thing that happens with them. They're like pleasant. Then Johnny ruins the evening. Or they ruin the evening. So now Johnny brings up, do you think you're contributing? I do think I'm contributing. Well, how do you think you're giving? You're giving, if I'm giving 150, if you're giving 100%, I'm giving 150%. I plan dates. What do you do for me, Bao? And I'm just like, first of all, Johnny, it's not all about you. If you don't like her, say you don't like her. But don't try to put it off on her not putting forth effort, Johnny. She's putting forth lots of effort. Cooking these meals, first of all, she is a career woman. She works with radiology. She works for director of some radiology department at a hospital, something like that. So she don't have time to be appeasing you all day. The fact that she cooks these meals is effort, at least on her end. But here's the thing. I feel like the drama of this episode and this couple could have been eliminated had they both read 2 books. He's Not That Into You for Bao, and The 5 Love Languages for Bao also, but also for Johnny. Because Johnny did express when they were talking to Pastor Cal that her baking is not for him, it's for her, because he didn't like those things. So he's saying, he said something so hurtful. They could have matched me with anybody else but her. It's just I think Johnny thinks he's hotter than he is. He has this fairy tale in his mind. So anyhow, after this little argument that they had at the dinner table, Johnny goes away and, Bao's talking in her confessional. And you hear Johnny screaming explicitives off camera, and Bao was startled. Johnny needs to be removed from this situation because he could be harmful to Bao. And he's just so angry. He's so angry with her. And I don't know if it's that we're not seeing everything. I know they're cutting away in the edit room, but it's he's just so incensed, just angry, seething, he's going to jump over the table and cut her neck with a sword. And I'm sorry for that stereotype. But the way the look in his eye reminded me of old Kung Fu movies back in the day. And I know that's inappropriate to say and politically incorrect, but that's what he reminded me of. He looked like he was about to jump over the table and cut her with a sword. So, and since it is TV, it's possible. But Johnny, I was giving Johnny the benefit of the doubt. Because I'm well, she's not flirty. She's very analytical, so he needs somebody who's feminine. Men want somebody they can desire initially. So, and she wasn't giving him that but then it's he would flirt with her, hit on her butt. He wants things the way he wants them, but yet he is not pointing out exactly what he wants. What is your love language, Johnny? What do you need from Brett? You need to put it in a spreadsheet so she can know. But I really feel like it just comes down to one thing. He's just not that into her. He remembers her probably from college, how she was in college, and that's who he's faced with today. The same person, just a little bit older and a few gray streaks in her hair. That's who she is, and he doesn't like it. Like, I don't like this. It's not what I wanted. He wants a sexy vixen. He doesn't want some little girl who's gonna pout her mouth down when she's sad. But the fact of the matter is, Johnny, you're being rude to her. You're being rude, and you're a douche. Johnny's a douche. So that's all I have, because Pastor Cal tried to get it through to him, like, Johnny. And he even tried to, like, bait him in. Are you seeing somebody? There's someone else, Johnny. It's just like, Pastor Cal does not say the right things at the right time. Like, they really need someone like Iyanla or Dr. Phil who's going to get in there and say and point out things to them, because, like, you just let him, like, though he didn't let him totally off the hook, he did not, like, get into the chorus. Like, he wants, mind you, yes, you should figure out what the differences are and the issues are in your relationship, but you need somebody who's going to facilitate you getting there. And I don't think Pastor Cal is that. And he's a pastor, he's not a psychologist. And Dr. Pepper's MIA, and Viviana is just somewhere wearing that turquoise necklace and that yellow dress. And so when back to like letting him have a pass, I do appreciate when Johnny went to his uncle, his relatives, family's barbecue. They didn't let him off the hook. They basically said, look, you want romance. He wants this childhood high school romance. It's like, you're not in high school anymore, Johnny. Fairy tales. They say women make up fairy tales. Men do the same thing. And a lot of the times with men's fairy tales, it's like they're hotter and they deserve this queen. They deserve the head cheerleader. Men always think they deserve the head cheerleader, no matter how whack they are, how short they are, how fat they are, how lame they are. Even the nerdy gamer thinks he deserves the head cheerleader. And like nerdy Johnny, who's not that attractive, who's balding, who's kind of wafy, he believes that he deserves his head cheerleader. And by head cheerleader, I mean this vixen, this beautiful girl, the number one, that it girl. They all believe they deserve it. And now that he's with Bao, who basically is a mirror of him, he didn't want it. He didn't want a mirror of himself. He wants this vixen. So that's all I have. Johnny's so disappointing, and he's just a douche. That's where I'm leaving him this week. Maybe next week he won't be a douche. Maybe he'll see the error of his ways, but ultimately he's just not into Val. And it would be nice if production would structure the show so these people wouldn't have to endure these 8 weeks, especially if you're not going to guide them, experts, through these 8 weeks. And especially if it just seems that the experts are really just here to push their agenda of married at first sight versus let's just help these people navigate. Should they be together or not together? Because it could be the show could just go into a direction. Oh, Johnny and Bao midway through just decided they don't want to be together. Let's just follow Johnny and Bao as they navigate breaking up. Like, that could be a show within itself. They don't do that. So if ever production needs some advice, come to me. I have all the ideas. Now for you, let me know what you thought. Is Johnny a douche, or is Johnny was he being reasonable? Is Ryan better? Is it better for Ryan not to say what he needs to say to Brett? Is that sparing her feelings, or should he just be direct with her? Let me know. Like and subscribe. Next time. Peace.